Hey folks, a lot has happened in the last several months, and right now I'm not even in my state of residence right now. I'm actually back east in the state where my mom was born and grew up, and her side of the family has resided for several generations. I think last time I posted anything, I just said that I was still here, but my mom did pass away back in July from pancreatic cancer, and then what happened recently was that my grandma passed away, and it was apparently it was a really bad fall. I thought it was well, I guess the way the details have been have come out has been just quite a bit different than what I speculated had happened, but yeah, and I was kind of I was quite sick over Thanksgiving break, up to and including the day that she apparently passed away. But oh, it looks like the phone's sliding down. But so it turns out that when she did pass away, between that point and the time when we actually got called about it, oh, and by the way, I got scumbag in-laws. Nothing new there for a lot of folks. But my adopted uncle's son, apparently it's gone and he'd contacted the probate lawyers. She did have a will, which is supposed to delineate and determine. This cough is really annoying me right now, but the will is supposed to delineate and determine who's going to get what, where everything goes. But he basically went and strong-armed all the copies of the house keys out of all of her neighbors who, she'd given copies to in case something happened to her. It's very much a kind of community where people, at least from her generation, they trusted people who lived around them. But yeah, he got the copies of the house keys and basically saying that, he talked to the probate lawyers and claiming that he tried to contact us, which he never did. And then when we reached out to him, he essentially stopped responding. And we haven't told any of them, well, at least not directly. I mean, my father's another case because he kind of, it's like loose lips sink ships, and he doesn't seem to understand sort of like the nature of these people and what we're really dealing with. And he kind of did, because we chatted up with the guys who had their keys and who had given the keys over and who were like their neighbors and that sort of thing. And they basically revealed, a bunch of stuff to us. And the likelihood is that if this scumbag cousin of mine shows up there again, he's probably going to hear, that we're in town. The plan currently is to go to the lawyers tomorrow and try and straighten things out. I really don't know what can be done, or how all the laws work here, because it's a different state, and I really haven't ever had to deal with this. And the whole idea with the will was that it would prevent these sorts of things from happening, or at least mitigate them. But probably their plan is to make things so difficult for myself and my family when we're already in the situation that we're in, such that we'll throw in the towel and not fight them for it. This is in the midst of my son with my classes, the rest of my family with their health issues, the tragedy of my mom's death, now the tragedy of my grandmother's passing. Just having to deal with my family again, and so many of their negative attributes. Right now, like I'm really, like, it may not seem like it, but I'm raging inside at this cousin. He's not really, like, he's not, I mean, I hate to I would say that I hate to, emphasize these things because it's not really somebody's choice whether or not they're born out of wedlock, adopted, etc. But like he's literally not part of the family in terms of like the bloodline. Like I'm actually my grandmother's only biological grandson. And my sister is her only biological grandchild. We're the ones who actually carry their genetics. And in certain ways, like I resemble my grandparents. I have different, like jawline, my nose, bone structure. You can tell, like if you look at photos of them, that like I am from their bloodline. And I kind of feel like if I'd been able to be here during that Thanksgiving, that she'd still be alive. My grandma would still be alive. A lot of these difficulties are existing because of decisions my parents made to move, to the other side of the country, 23 years ago. But we're here now, and I'm having to try and steel myself for battle, so to speak, because, these are the kinds of folks we're dealing with. You're putting aside all of that sort of stuff. Maybe folks like this are why my parents want to get out of this area. Just having to deal with these squabbling loser relatives. I mean, I know I complain a lot about like, oh, I went and got an engineering degree and this and that. It's like, this, I don't know, not even real cousin. I mean, the most that he's doing right now is being like a police officer here, a cop. Didn't really have the intellectual fortitude apparently to even finish, his undergraduate degree or to get any sort of certifications and any sort of employable skills. His sister, who is apparently quite promiscuous, and apparently was or is, a drug abuser. The most she's going for is like a social work degree. I mean, we're talking stuff that doesn't really require, the kind of capabilities to support yourself, and that require actual work and intellect and so on. As far as I'm concerned, people want to play devil's advocate, but like these are scummy people. And I know that given that this guy, recently got married, he was probably looking at it like, oh, here's how I can get myself a house, He's not going to do what the rest of us would do, which is to get a mortgage from a bank and actually have to present, the kind of income and the kind of financial, capabilities or responsibility that takes years and years to hone and lots of effort to get. He just wanted to sort of steal this house, off from my, my dead grandmother's corpse, basically. And, that's just so much of it. I mean, I know like his mom, who was, my uncle's ex-wife, if that tells you anything. She cheated on him. She abused him. She only stayed with him just long enough to get the maximum payout for, a divorce ruling. And, yeah, it's just like all this stuff having to deal with right now. And I wish, I don't know, I highly doubt that the folks who do, follow my channel or so, if they have any like legal experience or advice. A lot of this stuff depends state to state, but basically having to figure out exactly what to say to the lawyers to get things, turned around, because this is really infuriating me. It's just like with that other scumbag cousin from my, dad's side of the family, who did all the horrible things that he did. And I'll have to fight for this, because I mean, there's some line drawn in the sand, beyond which if you don't fight for it, then you might as well just be, gone yourself, because, you just kind of giving up in the struggle for life to hold on to whatever, you know, it's your sort of your spot in the world. And given how close I grew to my grandmother over the last, you know, couple of years, talking to her and hearing her life story, and, you know, finding out about my grandpa and his military service in the Navy during World War II, and, you know, all that sort of stuff, like, you know, you could say I'm not fighting for myself, I'm fighting for them. And, you know, it would be great if somebody had like a sort of a transcript I could memorize that would do the trick when it comes to the lawyers. But I don't know. That's the way things stand right now. You know, it's like you want to think you got problems in life when it's, you know, something to do with, you know, NoFap or money or things of that nature, and then you have this stuff happening, and it kind of shows you, like, you know, there's you know, bigger issues out there. And right now, this is where the fight is at. While I'm in the midst of, you know, trying to overcome all the things I'm trying to overcome. So anyways, that's all I can really say for now. I'm dealing with a lot of negative emotions, and it's pretty difficult to you know, be back here, and then in the midst of all this, you know, when you're in this raw emotional state, to be having these just subhuman vermin attacking you and trying to steal what is rightfully yours. So yeah, wish me luck. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.